Hi guys, it's Jody from RJet Creations. I hope you're all having a really good day. I'd like to, before we get started, just wish everyone who's celebrating Thanksgiving a very happy Thanksgiving and hope you have a great time with all your friends and family. And now on to today's project. I had intentions of filming myself creating this folio from start to finish. It's the first one I've made like this, but time got away from me and I have started it. So you won't be able to see the full start to finish, but I thought I'd take you along on where I'm at with it currently. So this is just a folio that I've made from cardstock, and I've just started decorating it. This cover is not glued down yet. It's just an idea I had, so things might change. So I'm just going to set that off to the side, and we're going to get started working on the inside. So first, when you open it up, I have started covering it. This is going to be a flip that we're going to glue down. This is a flap that's got a pocket. It's also got a magnet just to hold it closed. And this is going to be another flip that comes out this way. It's just got a little tuck here. And I'll have some string closures. So that is kind of where I'm at with it. So I think before I get too far along, I'm going to glue this in and then we can move on to the next section. So I'm just using my tacky glue. I'm not doing any stitching in this folio, at least not yet. I might stitch the tags and other things that I put in it, but I'm not stitching the folio itself, so I'm using quite a bit of glue. So, and I'm just doing this with scraps of paper that I had left around from journals that I actually made last year. So I'm using up some of my scraps. Just spreading out that glue a little bit, making sure I get it on the edges. And then I'm going to flatten this out. And we'll lay this in here. So I was back to work today. I had been on holidays for a week and today was my first day back. So it's been a busy day. I'm tired and it's always a lot to go back to when you get to work. When you've been away, sorry. So that's been my day. Getting out of bed was hard this morning. I watched the Adele special last night, so I was up late. And then we leave early for work. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm on vacation, I'm up early. Not a problem. And then when it's actually time to work, I have a hard time getting up. Okay, I just want to make sure that sits properly. Okay. Just going to find my bone folder here, and I just want to make sure I get that as flat as possible and glue it down as good as possible. Get some of those lumps of glue out. All right, so we'll just let that dry. And I'll show you the rest of what I've got going on here. So it's going to flip over this way, and I'm going to have a journal in here. So I'm just going to make this simple. I'm going to cover this in here. I'm going to put these pockets on. And then haven't figured out anything for the back yet. In this section, I'm going to do very similar to what I had in the one you just saw, where there'll be a flap here. And I'm going to decorate this side. So I'm thinking of putting this paper down here. And then I have this envelope that I've created. And then on this flap, I'm thinking of putting another belly band on to bring in this green. But I think that belly band's a little wide, so I'm just going to cut it down just a touch. Give me a second. Okay, and then I will do something to bring in these presents, just so that it comes across. I got some more scraps. So I'm not quite sure what I'll do. I'm not quite sure what I'll do with it. We'll get it inked up and see where we go from there. So I'm going to start by just moving this out of the way and keeping the portions that we're going to work on. The first thing I'm going to do is do some inking. I'm going to ink all along this piece that we're going to glue down. I'm having a lot of fun with this project. I was really unsure. I've never made anything quite like it before. I've made little folios that are probably about half the size of this, and just not much to them. So this was the biggest project I've done with regards to making a folio such as this. So I'm hoping that it'll turn out all right. I'm excited to see the finished project. And I got my inspiration from Artie Mays again. She makes some beautiful folios. She uses file folders. I didn't have any file folders. Actually, I do, but they're blue. So they wouldn't really go with my colors. So that's why I figured, well, I'll just use some of this black cardstock. And so far, it's been working quite well. I just cut it down to the size I wanted and folded it back and forth. I think I will likely reinforce the spine where I'm going to put the journal with some fabric. But I'm not 100% sure about that yet. I'm just using this just to dull it down a little bit. It was a little bit white. So I just wanted to take some of that brightness away. And I'm also going to ink around the edges of this envelope. I made this envelope with the My Memory Keepers envelope punch. Again, it's made with cardstock, so it's quite sturdy. And just want to get rid of some of this white. You're not going to see it too much on the screen, but you are going to see the insides. So I'm thinking that I'm going to cover part of the inside with some music paper. Just because it's a little bit white, and I'm going to come down. I'm just going to come down a little bit. So I'm going to use my glue stick for this, and I'm just going to cover the flap. Hopefully this will work. If it doesn't, we'll have to make another envelope. But we'll cover that, and I'm just going to come down just a little bit down in here so you can't see it. Hopefully I've got that somewhat straight. Just gonna rub it on, and then we will trim it off and glue down any additional pieces that are sticking up. This way. We'll get rid of some of this excess off first. And I've probably glued this on upside down. I do stuff like that all the time. And I didn't think about it when I was gluing it down until just now. So there's a 50-50% chance that when I flip this over, it's gonna be upside down. But that's okay, we can deal with that. All right, so we have some areas here that aren't glued down yet, so we're just going to go ahead and glue them down. You don't want anything catching, so make sure we get those edges. And then I'll find my card, and we will flatten that out. And then just give it a little bit of cleanup with my rag here. And I'm making more of a mess. Just gotta rub it off. Put in some elbow grease. You just want to make sure you get all that glue off because you don't want anything sticking. So. And it will come off, at least my glue stick will. Okay. Now I'm just going to make sure that I have this trimmed up just perfectly. And I'm going to add some ink. I have to glue that down. Okay. Let me get this. Where's my glue book? All right. That should be good now. This is going to come up here. We have a little bit of white showing, but that's okay. We will get the ink out. Just cover that a little bit. And then we will re-crease this. I should probably wait for it to dry Didn't do too bad. All right, so that's our envelope. I am gonna fold this down just a little bit, and I will glue this just to give it a little extra strength and to, it's not quite straight. There. Just makes it a little bit easier to put stuff in there. So I'm going to use my tacky glue, and I'll carefully glue this down, and then we'll glue this envelope together. Now here you want to make sure that you get this edge and this edge, but you don't want to go over it or your papers will stick. So I'm just going to do just a line of glue there. And a line of glue on this side. Making sure not to get in there. And then I'll do the same on this edge. And notice this one didn't go quite up to the edge, so we're just not going to go quite up to the top of this one. All right, and then carefully fold that. Press it down good. On both sides. Oops. And we'll let that dry for a minute while we move on. Okay, so that is going to sit on here. And this is going to be on here. I'm just going to open this up. And I just want to make sure that I have it just inside the fold lines. So that's going to go here. And I could make it a tuck if I wanted. So we're going to leave this in here for now. And we'll move on to the next area until we have it worked out. Okay. So now we're going to have this section. This is going to be the flap. And I think I'm going to have another belly band here. Because I want to bring in that color. We can do that. And I was going to try and bring some of this in, but I don't think it'll really work. I could do a pocket and stick the envelope in there. rather than gluing it down. I'm still going to think on that. In the meantime, we'll work on this section. So I do, in the front section, I rounded the corners of this flap, so I'm going to do that here as well. So I'm going to round the corners of this piece, and I'll round the corners I have to decide which way this is going. This way. Nope. I'm going to do it this way. So I want the flap to be going this way. So I need to do these corners. Okay. All right, so again, I'm just going to ink this up just to take away some of the brightness. We'll go around the edges, and then I'll take some of the white off. The way I've been doing it so far is I've been kind of laying it down, getting the whole section ready, and then I've been gluing everything down, just in case I want to switch it around. And each section kind of has its own 2 or 3 sets of papers that kind of coordinate. Just because, like I said, I'm using up scraps, so the whole journal isn't made, or folio isn't made with the same papers, it's bits and pieces. So I'm hoping that it will go cohesively. And the papers I'm using are papers I got from Michael's last Christmas. So I don't know if they're still available. But I had quite a bit left over. So, alrighty. Okay. So now I'll just see if this works okay. And it does. This is going to go down the center. And on the other one, I did lace down the center. I could do that again, but I might see if I can get some of that other paper that we have and just do a strip of that paper down there. So that could work. So I'm going to trim this down. Trim it down and see how we do. I'm trying to be very careful. I'm a little nervous having this cutter in view because I chopped my finger the other day. I'm not quite sure how. I am an extremely nervous, safe person. Working at the hospital, I get to see all the different accidents that people have, and I tend to really take that to heart and am extremely careful. So I have no idea how I managed to get my finger underneath the blade of my guillotine cutter and smash it down. It hurt. I probably should have gone in for a stitch, but like I've said before, I live out of town and it was a 20-minute drive into town to go to the hospital to get a suture, so Band-Aid it is. Don't like to go to my place of work on my days off, particularly for something so stupid. Can't believe I did it. But I was busy crafting and just not paying attention, and that's how accidents happen. All right. So that's what I'm thinking for there. And if we pull the folio back in, whoops, thinking that it's going to look something like that. So I think I will try and maybe do a little pocket, and I'll put a lace on the top of this one. Since I put the lace on the other one over here, I'll put the lace on the pocket over here. So I need to cut this at, I think that's 5 inches. I'm going to cut it just shy of 5 inches. And do I want a 3? Let's do 2.5 inch pocket. Okay, so I'm going to ink this up same way as I did the others, and then I'm going to take a little bit of lace. I can see a piece on my desk here. Hopefully it'll fit, and we'll glue that on there, and then we'll glue the pocket down, and then that panel should be ready to go. Oh, and we'll glue the other piece down to the flap, and then we'll see what time it is. All right. Let's see. Just like that, perfect. And I see that it's just a hair over. So I'm just going to trim that with my scissors. And then just give it another ink. All right. I'm going to get the Fabri-Tac out for this. And I have to decide, do I want the lace over top or behind? And I can tell you I want it over top, just by that little bit. I knew it. Easy decision. This glue's gotten so thick. So our town's having a Midnight Madness this weekend. They have it every year. I think it Can't remember if it went last year or whether it was canceled. Not sure, but this year it's a go. So it has a big craft sale. It's got a Christmas parade. And the stores stay open late and have different sales. My husband's in law enforcement, so he's going to be in the parade. And I have not been to the parade for years, since my kids were little. But my daughter is off on Friday, which is the day of the parade. So I think her and I are going to hit up the parade, and then we'll hit up some of the shops, and then go for some appies and a drink after. It should be a nice evening. I'm excited. Get some Christmas shopping done, and should be fun. I'm not sure, like I say, my husband will be working because he's going to be in the parade and doing all that, so he'll be working. And I don't know if my son will want to come, so it'll probably just be my daughter and I, which is good. And we'll have some fun. I think the craft sale goes all weekend, but the shops have their sales just that night. Some of them are on the hour, so I have to kind of do some research and see where we want to go. The last few years for my husband for Christmas, I've done the 12 days of Christmas. So we actually start it on Christmas Day, and we go through, and I get a bunch of little gifts for each of the 12 days of Christmas, and I'm thinking I'll probably do that again this year. So that always takes a lot of time to try and figure out what to get for that. So my daughter's a good shopper. She likes doing stuff like that. So she'll have some good ideas. So we'll do that. That's about all for this weekend, I believe. Alrighty. Let's bring this in again. Actually, I'll let that dry. And we'll work on this portion. In, out, in, out, in, out. All right. I am going to use my tacky glue for this, and I should probably bring in a couple glue sheets. Whoops. Okay. Just gonna have a sip of coffee. All right, let's get this on. How are we doing for time? Half an hour, so we're not doing bad. Do you guys like longer videos, shorter videos? I don't know. I myself kind of like watching the longer ones. I like the process videos, but sometimes you like the little short ones too, depending on what you got going. So, I want to glue this down good. I don't want it popping up. And like I said, you can sew this if you want. You just have to make sure that you think about the order that you're going to be sewing so that you don't stitch things closed. Given that this is the first one I've made like this, that's why I've decided not to stitch. I thought I don't need any extra bits and pieces to be complicating it. All right. I'm going to try and get this on as straight as possible. Again, watching my folds so I don't go over the folds. And I've lost my rag. Okay. I really need to get a new rag. This one's lived its life. want to rub it down good. I will not be sticking this part down into the journal until I finish this side. So now we'll add, I can't remember if I inked this. I'm just going to re-ink it just again real quickly. Oh, it looks like I've inked it there, so I guess I must have. Just don't remember doing it. Okay. So we'll get this piece on. Oops. Helps if I take the lid off. So I'm going to try and have videos up every Wednesday and Saturday, I think I decided. It could be Sunday, I can't remember. I have to look at my schedule. But one day over the weekend and Wednesdays. I'm going to try and see how that works with my schedule. See if I can keep up with it. I'm going to try and do my best to film ahead when I can to try and get it done. But like I said, this is my goal for this year, is to get comfortable and proficient at crafting online. So oops. Doesn't look quite straight. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. All right, we'll get that in. So I won't put much in these tucks. I'll find some kind of paper or journaling card. In the front section where I have those two flaps that flip up and down, I'm going to put a little notebook, I think. And then we'll find some different tags and stuff. I might have some in my stash. I have to look. See what I have. Okay, I'm just going to wipe away that excess glue and get some clips to clip those on. Okay. I just want to make sure that that glue holds. All right. So now you'll get a pretty good idea. Hopefully this is in frame. But hopefully you'll get a good idea of what this will look like. So we'll have that in there. This will go in that pocket. I will decorate this up a little bit. So that's what that center will look like. Okay. So leave that. And I think we'll have just enough time to get this centerpiece done here. And then that'll be a night. So this, hopefully I'm in screen. This is going to be the center. I just wanted to reinforce this spine. I'm going to take those off for now. that's why I'm doing the paper all the way across. And I just want very simple tuck spots on either side, because my intention is to have a journal such as this in the middle. Not this one because it's got the wrong color papers, but something like that just for writing in. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is glue these pockets on, and then we'll glue the whole part onto the folio. And I can't tell if I inked those, so I'm going to go ahead and re-ink them just to be safe. That one. Oops. And this one. I may, depending, once I get everything kind of put together, I might use fabric to reinforce the spines too. We'll see how it goes. Like I said, I've never made one of these before, so I don't know whether it's going to be enough or whether it'll need it. But I'm hoping, we'll see. All right. Okay. Just gonna try and get it in that corner. This side. It looks like I haven't cut it quite right, so we'll just have to do some trimming. So I'm starting with this side because that's the side that's dry, and I'm just following the edge of that paper. Whoops. Oh, I know what I can tell you guys. I started my liqueurs for Christmas today. I am making my limoncello. I've made that the last few years after our trip to Italy. Love it, and I like the homemade version, and it's so easy, so I started that today. That'll be ready for Christmas. And then I tried one that is a strawberry. I've never made a strawberry one before, but when I was looking at the recipe, it indicated that it was really good to put a little bit in your mimosas. So we always do mimosas Christmas morning, so the champagne and orange juice. So I've made this strawberry liqueur to try and put it in that. I think it'll be yummy. So both of them take about a month to be ready, so I got them ready. I'm off again the week before Christmas, and so is my daughter and my son. My husband. My son has to work, but so I'm hoping that we will hunker down and we can have a few drinks and play some games. We love playing games. We play a lot. So that's my plan. Trying to think of the best way of doing this, and I think what I'll do is I think I'll glue the spine in first, and then we'll deal with the edges. So that's what I'm going to do. I shouldn't leave my glue on the side. So I'm just going to go up and down the spine. This might not be a good idea, guys. If anyone has any suggestions, let me know. Anyone who's done these before, but right now I'm thinking that's my best option. Trying to get that in there. I'm going to do this. All right. Okay, so that seemed to work. That worked. So now I'm going to do this section. And I should maybe get my glue book. So I can get right to the edge. Somebody opened the door. They must be letting the dog out, and it's freezing. I feel the cold air coming down here. It's not very warm here now. Although we're doing better than poor BC. BC is getting hit with floods, and central and southern Alberta, where my husband is currently working, is getting tons of snow. So I guess I won't complain, but it is, I could feel the cold air. Furnace just kicked in. So, all right. Make sure I get that down good. Now for the last side. Actually, I want to do it this way. I can't seem to be able to talk and glue. Okay, so where's my lid for my glue? Put that away. And we'll get this stuck down as good as we can. Okay, so I think that's done. I hope I got the panels in all the right areas. So, let's see. Oh, this should, I'll have to dry that before I bend that, I think. And it'll be this and this flap here. So I still have these two panels and the back to do and to finish off the front. And then it's getting down to the decorating and filling portion. So I think I'm happy with that. So far anyway. All right, guys, that'll be it for today. I'll try and come back tomorrow to maybe finish the other sides and possibly even get the cover done. We'll see how time allows. So we'll see you next time. Thank you. Have a great night.